what's your goal with this writing gig, right? Learning how to set goals is an important skill for any writer. It's so fundamentally important, but so many people set goals incorrectly and then wonder why they're not able to get to the levels that they want to get to. So in this video, we're going to talk about SMART goal setting for writers so you can achieve your dreams. What's up, guys? Michael Laron here with Author Level Up, helping you write world-class stories better and faster. And I create these videos because I believe that each of you has an inner Stephen King, and you just need help unlocking it. So if you're new here, consider subscribing and click that little bell, ding, 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 to get notifications anytime I have a new writing video. And this writing video is part of my organization series, where I go into virtually every aspect of the writing life and how to organize it. And in this video, we're talking about goal setting, and we're going to spend some time talking about this because it's pretty important. So first, you want to make sure that any goal that you set in your writing career is SMART. And I use SMART in quotes as an acronym, and that stands for specific, measurable, attainable, reasonable, and timely. So let's illustrate this with a simple example. Let's say that I set the goal of, I want to write more books so I can quit my job. Is that a SMART goal? Well, no, because, what kind of books am I going to, how many books am I going to write, and what kind of money do I need to make, and is that actually realistic, right? You have to make sure that it hits those boxes. So let's say that first goal was, I want to write more books so I can quit my job. Let's tweak that a little bit. Let's say I want to write 10 books by the end of the year so I can make the equivalent of my salary and quit my job. Right? So let's run it through the framework here. So SMART goals: specific, measurable, attainable, reasonable, and timely. I want to write 10 books by the end of the year so I can make the equivalent of my salary and quit my job. Is that goal specific? Well, I want to write 10 books. I'm going to be able to quit my job, make my reasonable salary. I think you can make the argument that it's specific. Is it measurable? I either write 10 books by the end of the next year, or I don't. If I write 9 books, didn't hit the goal. If I write 10 books, I hit the goal. If I write 11 books, I hit the goal. The number of my salary, I didn't include that, but if I wanted to include a number there, I could include a number there, and that's measurable, right? Quitting your job is measurable, all right? So, and then we talk about attainable. So is 10 books attainable for me? Well, in prior years, I have written 10 books. So I've written 10 to 12 books in prior years. So I know based on my own criteria that is pretty attainable for me, right? Now, the money for the salary piece, is that attainable? That's going to depend on your specific situation, right? Now, we also talk about reasonable. So is it reasonable to be able to quit my job at the end of next year? Maybe it is, maybe it's not, right? It just depends on what kind of money that I'm trying to make, right? And so then we have timely, and my goal is to do this by the end of next year. That's just an example. That's specific, it's measurable, it's attainable, it's reasonable, and it's timely. That's how you want to think about your goals. Now, I have another letter that I like to add to SMART goals, and for those of you who have watched my channel since the beginning, you know what I'm about to say. And that is add a Y to SMART. So I like to call them SMARTY goals, right? And the Y stands for your control. So don't set goals that are outside of your control. Only do things that you can actually impact in your career, right? So the example of writing 10 books, that's a goal that's within your control. You can do that. Setting a goal of, I want 1,000 reviews, that's not within your control. And trust me when I say that you'll be a lot happier and a lot healthier when you set goals that are within your control and that are not in the hands of other people. Now, I've got a super old video on this. If you want to go back to the past, you can check it out by clicking the YouTube card above my head or the link in the video description where I talk about this a little bit more. But SMART goals is not all. That's just the fundamental starting step, right? We need to talk next about the different types of goals. And these goals are things that I've just come up with myself. It's not anything scientific. You Google this, you're going to come up with all sorts of different other things. So these are just strictly Michael Laron's definition of goals. Just got to make sure I throw that out there. But let's illustrate this with an example. There are 4 types of goals that I want you to think about. But let's illustrate this with an example that has nothing to do with writing. Let's say that you are going on vacation and you are traveling to a foreign country. And there are logistics when you go on a vacation, right? How are you going to get there? Are you going to go by car? Are you going to go by air? Are you going to go by boat? Where are you going to stay? What hotel are you going to stay in? What restaurants are you going to eat at? Do you need to learn a foreign language? And so I think about goals like traveling. So the first kind of goal is a strategic goal. So it's a big picture, right? So it's that country that you're going to, right? So if you're going to Greece, then it's going to take a significant amount of money, effort, and time to change course and actually go to England instead. So when you think strategy and you think big picture as a writer, what that means is mission statement, vision statement, who your target audience is, these sorts of things. And this is very easily done. You just have to spend some time figuring out what it is that you want to do. So your mission statement is what you want to accomplish as a writer. Your vision statement is what will happen when you do accomplish that. It's really that simple. And it pays to take some time to think about that, because once you figure out what your overall strategy is, then you can proceed to the next level of goals, which are slightly lower, right? So back to our traveling analogy. So we're going to a foreign country. So how are you going to get to that foreign country? You've got to take a car, you've got to take a plane, you got to take a boat. However you're going to get there, you have to get there, right? And that is the next type of goal, which I like to call a transitional goal. So this is the goals that help you get from point A to point B. So to relate this back to writing, that could be your books, right? It could be the content that you create. It could be a course that you create if you're a nonfiction writer. These are goals that are informed by your strategy, but they're not the day-to-day goals. They're the projects that happen over time. So right. So it takes you time to get to a country. It also takes you time to write a book. That's a transitional goal. And the thing to remember about transitional goals is this is where writing careers are built. They're some of the most important goals that you can make because, like I said, they're informed by your strategy, but they're not so day-to-day that you lose focus of the big picture. Which leads me to the next goal, which is the tactical goal, right? So to go back to our travel analogy, traveling from point A to point B, what are you going to pack when you're traveling? How are you going to make sure that your camera gets through customs, right? How are you? What taxi are you going to pick to get to the hotel? What restaurants are you going to go to for dinner that first night because you're going to be super tired, right? Just logistics. These are what I call tactical goals. They fit within your transitional goals, right? So to relate this back to writing a book is the transitional goal. Setting your word count of saying you want to write 3,000 words per day is the tactical goal that goes from that. So when you're thinking about your goals, just make sure that whatever you're doing on a day-to-day basis is serving your transitional and your strategic goals. Because what can happen is someone will ask you to do something, or maybe you'll see something shiny and then you'll go race off to do something different, and then you lose sight of that, and then doing this once or twice probably isn't going to affect you a whole lot, but if you start doing it a lot, then you start putting your goals in jeopardy. So anything that you do on a daily basis, you always want to make sure that it aligns with your strategic priorities. And then lastly, we have what I call our personal goals. So to use our travel analogy, you want to learn French. When you go to France, you want to learn the history of the country that you're going to, and so you make it a personal goal to learn these things, so that when you get to your destination, it'll be a lot more enjoyable, right? You'll have better experiences, and it's the same thing with the writing life, right? So there's all sorts of different things that you have to do in order to continue to develop yourself, so that you can become a better writer and a better business person. It could be learning how to write better book descriptions. It could be learning how to write better fiction. It could be learning how to write or write better autoresponders, or do any aspect of your writing. But the key is that where you are today, you're going to be a lot better off tomorrow if you learn how to do whatever this important skill is. And so personal goals are also very important. They may not necessarily line up with what you're doing on a day-to-day basis or any of your transitional goals, but the key is that they still serve your strategic priorities. So I hope that analogy made sense. You guys know I love analogies, but sometimes they can get a little crossed. So let me know in the comments if that makes sense. But let's bring this home. All right. So let's use Author Level Up as an example to highlight all 4 of these goals. So let's say, for example, that as a strategic priority I have for Author Level Up, that I want to impact 1 million authors over the next 5 years by creating content that helps them become the writers of the future by adopting new technology and new skills, and then also by being able to write better and write faster and more intentional fiction. Now, that's a little vague, but you guys know where I'm going with this from a SMART perspective, right? All right, so that's my strategic priority. Moving down, I have a transitional goal, right? And that goal is to create over a library of over 1,000 videos of unbeatable YouTube topics that cover only things that I can cover because I have to be myself, right? And also by creating in-depth courses and unique tools for writers that other people haven't thought of in order to help writers with that strategic goal that I mentioned. So the YouTube videos, the content that I create, like my podcasts, my courses, all that are the projects that I choose to work on. So what are the tactical things that I need to be doing on a daily basis in order to hit the transitional goals? So that might look like shooting YouTube videos, 2 to 3 of those per week. It might look like doing 2 podcast episodes per week, an online course every 6 months, a new tool for writers every 6 months, and a goal of 2,000 or 3,000 words a day so that I can write 5 to 7 books for writers per year. Those are the tactical day-to-day things that I probably need to be doing in order to hit that goal. But I might have other tactical goals, such as making sure that I'm responding to fan mail that I get, right? Making sure that I'm digging into the YouTube analytics of my channel to make sure that I understand what it is that you guys want to watch, what kind of thumbnails you will click on, and how to serve you better so that you guys will share this channel with your friends, right? And that the YouTube algorithm will recommend more people. Now, from a personal goal standpoint, right? I mean, I need to continue improving my skills. I need to continue getting better at learning the art of making videos. I need to get better at the arts of business, law, and craft. And I call them arts for a reason. So learning the law, learning copyright is something that I need to learn if I want to make sure that I get to the next level in my own career. Because if I'm going to create a YouTube channel and create content that you guys will follow, then I have to walk that walk too. And I have to write my own fiction, and I have to get better with my fiction and do better with that so that I can share what it is that I'm learning to help impact you guys. But the key to all those goals is that they all fit together, right? And if you can get that alignment, if you can just take some time and figure out what those different goals are and get alignment between all of them, man, you're going to be unstoppable in terms of hitting your goals. Then it's just a matter of time management and how you fit in all the time that you need in order to do the things that you need to do. And fortunately, I've done a video on time management, so be sure to check that out. Top tips that I have for time management for writers. So be sure to watch the rest of the videos in my organization series if you haven't seen those already, and be sure to subscribe, and I will talk to you in the next video.
Perfect.